to the Staying on Task podcast. I'm Theo.
I'm Michelle.
And today on the podcast we have...
Annie.
And Theo.
So we're going to be discussing women's rights, right?
Yeah.
We got you on the podcast with the knowledge that you're passionate about women's rights. But starting with you, Theo, why are you passionate about women's rights?
I think it's just something that's not spoken about enough. And even girls our age do not, even think about it. We always... I've spoken to so many girls that just don't even realise it's a problem anymore. And I don't understand how they've not experienced anything, because I think a lot of, everybody experiences it every day, but it's just normalised. And I don't agree that it should be normalised.
Yeah, and on to you, Annie.
So for me, I feel like I've always been very passionate about the word feminism and about making sure that the misconception of feminism isn't portrayed. Because I think by promoting mutual respect and challenging inequality in workplaces, education and society, feminism seeks fairness for everyone, showing that it's not just about justice and partnership. No, sorry, it is just about justice and partnership over competition and denomination.
Yeah, that's very good, because people often associate with, man hate.
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
But that's
really
just
not
the extreme end, when
Yeah.
it's actually just getting equal rights for
And I
everyone.
think that's social media taken out of proportion. I think from
Yeah.
people doing, large speeches about how powerful women are, I think that's where the misconception has occurred about how, women are trying to be more powerful, which is not the case at all.
Yeah, and are there any encounters or things that you've experienced that have solidified your stance on women's rights?
Yes, definitely. There have been a lot of boys that I've spoken to, and they just say things that are not normal.
Yeah,
And
you overhear conversations,
Yeah,
and it's just
and-
why are they saying
Yeah,
that?
it just shocks me, because that's not a normal thing to say, and it should not be fair that you can talk about a girl like that and not get in trouble for it.
Yeah, do you think, teachers can do more about
Yeah,
it?
I think they should just call them out. If they
Yeah.
hear somebody talking about it, just say that's not right.
Yeah.
Because it's not, and it's not bad that they're saying it. They just need to be educated, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they don't know that it's bad.
And what about you, Annie?
Exactly. So recently I was sat in a P lesson, and I think for me personally, I do sport quite a lot,
Yeah.
and I think that the representation of women in sport is so valuable. So I was sat in a P lesson, and we had examples of different body types, so stoma types, and I can't remember the other name.
I don't
I
remember.
can't remember what it is, but it was basically larger types of bodies, thinner types, taller types, and more muscle types. So for the larger type, it was only men on the photos on the board. There were about 5 photos, and they were all men. And then it flipped through to the other slides, they were all men, and then it flipped over to the tall and skinny body type, and there was one woman with the rest men. And I think for me personally, I'm in sport, so I'm quite educated about it, but if I wasn't in sport and I was a bit larger, I'd probably see that as I'm not being represented in sport, I'm just not going to bother.
Yeah, you wouldn't feel included because it's just nothing looks like what you are.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think, so I said something, and there were boys in the
Yeah.
class who piped up, and they were like, Annie, this is a P lesson.
They were just laughing.
Cut
at
it
her
out.
and stuff, yeah.
And
But it's
yeah.
deeper than that.
Yeah.
I think
Exactly.
people need to realise that.
And I think if it doesn't start in sport, where does it start? If it's not in a P lesson,
Yeah, it's
where do you start?
the small things, because
Yeah.
you can't just go straight to the big picture.
Mhm.
You have to start it from the root.
Yeah. Do you feel that modern day men and women are, in the public eye, are putting more emphasis on feminism and etc.?
I think that there are a lot of celebrities definitely doing, Emma
Watson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Emma Watson.
Yeah, yeah.
Always forget her name. She does a lot, and I think it's really it really motivates me to speak out, and it gives me a voice.
Yeah.
Because if I see people doing it, then I will want to do it more, and that's part of the reason why I want to speak about it more, to encourage other people who don't feel they have a voice to talk.
Yeah, what about you, Annie?
I think from movements like the This Girl Can and the #MeToo,
Yeah.
I think that they promote everyone to have a voice. I think it's women empowering women to show that we can do this and close the gap.
Yeah, so do you find it strange that it's always women that need to do more for women's rights rather than men actually stepping up? And what would you say that men could do to help women's rights and equality?
I think men could just if they hear one of their friends saying a joke, they should just stand up for what they think.
Yeah,
is right.
lads' behaviour, because sometimes in
Yeah.
the big marauds,
Yeah.
they're a bit I feel it unsafe to call
Yeah.
them out.
Yeah.
But if you do call them out, then that behaviour would start changing.
Exactly, and I think it just starts there, just simple things like that.
Yeah, it's starting off with the small
Yeah.
things.
I think people assume that women's rights have been here for a long time, but it's only in the last 100 years that they've gotten the same rights as men. How do you feel about how this is continuing, like the future of women's rights?
It makes me, I think previously it makes me quite emotional. I think knowing that, I think it was a few months ago, it was the first woman, it was the anniversary of 50 years since the first woman opened their bank account. And it makes me, it makes me want to cry. Like, my grandma will have grown up not being able to open a bank account for 50 years. Like, how old is she now? She is 70, so I can't do maths.
Like, it's only 30. In her lifetime.
So she would have been 30 when she was able to open a bank.
So
no,
I've got
2020.
Gosh. I've got a timeline here. So 1918, women gained the right to vote under specific circumstances, and only over 30 and own a home by themselves.
That is insane.
But the problem is, it was only until as I was saying, 1929, women from 21 upwards can vote, and only in 1975 could they open a bank account or take a mortgage out in their own name without the signature of a husband or father. But what I find even crazier, 1991, before that date, men could not be convicted of rape if it was their partner. So say you were married to someone, it was seen as like permanent consent, even if you didn't consent at the time. And it was only until 1991. Like, that's only 30 years ago.
That makes me so angry.
And
that's
disgusting.
Do you feel like there are any rights that we maybe forget? Like, for example, the bank account thing, like, forgotten for over 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel there are any more examples of that, like, right now?
I'm not sure. I can't really think of any, but there definitely are. I
also think that people often use that. They go like, well, what rights do you not have, to try and stump people?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it's actually not about just rights, it's about respect.
Yeah, it's just about day-to-day things.
There's men in society that just literally just disrespect women.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just about them getting equal rights. In the law, they could have all the rights they could possibly have, but still they would be unjust, like, in society.
Yeah.
And I also think, like, the pay gap, people say it's, like, balanced out now, but it's completely not.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. Would you agree there are, like, modern day men and women who negatively, like, affect women's rights and feminism?
Yeah, there are definitely girls who do not realise that they've not had these rights for long. Like, people who don't vote as well, girls who say, oh, politics doesn't, like, bother me or whatever. I don't get why, because literally voting against for the wrong party will take away all of your rights, basically. And it makes me so angry.
I also think, like, when people say, like, why aren't women voting? I also think that, like, the things the suffragettes and suffragists did, they didn't just fight for your right to vote, they fought for your right to choose.
And to have a voice,
If you choose not to vote, that's okay, but also they've given you the right to have a voice.
Exactly.
And you should take advantage of that.
And losing lives over it, I think that shows how deep it goes. I think for people saying, you know, it doesn't involve you, it's like, well, if the vote was taken away, then your mum wouldn't have a vote. So then it does affect you. And I think people think of it so shallow, like in a really shallow sense. And then, you know, if it was taken away, what would you do?
And I also like to talk about, you know, like, language. It's like when there's a dad and he brings, like, a child to a park. Everyone says, like, oh, he's a really good dad. He's a really cute dad. But then a woman brings a baby to a park.
And it's just normal.
She's just doing her
It's
job.
the double standards, isn't it?
Yeah, it's her job.
Like,
I hate that.
It's like, surely the woman should have the same respect as the man.
Exactly.
And I think people can change that by just being nice people.
And just, like, simple language things. Like, people saying, oh, you throw like a girl. That is not a fair thing to say. Or, like, oh, how do girls run? Like, I think it just puts young girls down so much because they don't think they can do anything. They think they're just a girl, so that's all they can do. When that's not true.
Oh, and the saying, I'm just a girl. The social media is, like, capitalised it as in, like, oh, I can't do that because I'm just a girl. I'm like, even if you look at the Winter Olympics, it's like, look how insane that is. They are, you know, they're quote-unquote just a girl, and look what they're doing. It's...
Exactly.
It's amazing.
I also hate when people refer to, like, women as someone's wife as well.
Yeah, I know. Like, you're a person, not just a wife.
So much more than that.
I know that you're religious, and I'm also as well. Like, how do you feel about religion and feminism together?
I think there are definitely misconceptions about it. I don't believe personally that that my religion affects me being, like, having rights and stuff, but that's because how I look at the Bible. There are some people who look at the Bible word for word and, like, will read something and say, that's exactly how I'm going to live, that's exactly it. And there are some things in the Bible, it was written ages ago, there are some things that are against women's rights, kind of. But I don't look at it that way. I just live... I think Christianity is about love. Genuinely just love. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Like,
I would live the way Jesus did.
Yeah, like, he would not be against immigrants and against women. He
Yeah.
loves
Yeah.
everybody. The whole point is he accepts everybody. But
Yeah.
I think it's people who have changed what the religion stands for.
Yeah.
And there are definitely different religions around the world that are the same. But
Yeah,
it's...
I definitely think from a non-religious perspective that's a very good viewpoint to have,
Mhm.
because like people, it may have been written hundreds and hundreds of years ago
Yeah.
by men mostly, but the recountings of like Jesus and things,
Yeah.
if you just live by his example,
Exactly.
then I think that's as much of a Christian as you
Mhm.
can be. So yeah, I don't think it exactly stops women's rights. Obviously, there's some extreme ends of
Yeah.
all religions that are against women's rights.
I think the people who take the religion and take advantage of it
yeah,
are
they
the
like
problem.
use it as a pawn.
Yeah.
In their
Like
political
Donald
argument.
Trump,
Yeah.
he takes it and makes it something horrible when it should not be.
Capitalizes on it,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
feel like he kind of uses it to brush his actions under the rug and
Yeah.
say, well, I'm a Christian,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah, well,
then does it.
talking about Donald Trump, isn't it crazy? Like 78 or 73 million people voted for him. When there's a court case here, Eugene Carroll versus Donald J. Trump. He was convicted of sexual abuse and defamation and had to pay out $88.3 million.
It's awful.
And that's sexual abuse, but also the sitting judge, Lewis A. Kaplan, in July 2023 said that the verdict found that Trump had raped Eugene Carroll to the common definition, but not to the legal definition. So basically, the judge on the case said that it was rape, and he got sexual abuse case, and yet people saw that and were like,
Yeah.
I'm still going to vote for that.
I know.
And I think if we take it down to a minuscule level, like, conversations at home could have prevented him getting into power.
Yeah.
The woman of the house speaking up and going, actually, I don't agree with this, but some of them actually are quite scared to speak up.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got, like, all male children and a male partner.
But that's where it starts. You should always teach them that women should be respected. Obviously men as well, but women, like, they find the problem is there, and then, like, you should always teach them that consent goes... I don't even know, that consent really, like, triggers me and all of that kind of stuff. It makes me so angry because I don't know why a man thinks that they could take advantage of a woman just because she's a woman. It's not fair. It's not fair.
I think it all starts... My family's always been really open. We're always, talking at the table.
Yeah.
And I think if you don't, I really think you can tell. I think it's the small conversations, like you say, and passing knowledge on. Like, I'll be sat on the bus with my friend Oscar, and you can just tell that his family talks because we have really nice political conversations. We're allowed, we can see both sides, but then it's like, well, I can also see, his opinion. You can see his opinion. So, I just think it's so important to talk with everyone about everything
Being open.
and spread awareness.
How do you feel about period poverty and the pink tax and, like, the modern world serious day issues?
I think it's horrible. I think it's horrible that some period things like pads and tampons are more expensive than men's toiletries. Oh no, the other way around, sorry. Men's
so
toiletries are more expensive.
Staggering, 21% of women in the UK struggled to afford sanitary products last year, and I think it was 41% using toilet paper as an alternative. And I just think that's crazy. And for a basic human function, it shouldn't just be...
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is a good point. Like, how men and young boys see, like, women in periods, because it is a completely natural thing, but it's seen as such a taboo topic.
Yeah, like
you can't speak about
exactly.
it
If
because
I was
it's like, oh no, that's weird.
If I was to talk about it or just, like, say that obviously I'm struggling with it, they'd be like, oh, that's disgusting. No, it's not. It's a natural thing that happens.
Yeah, it's literally like someone having a cold.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You should be able to talk about it.
Yeah,
as
like,
much
I
as
can't
that.
help that happens.
Yeah.
It's not my fault.
And if it didn't happen, then we wouldn't reproduce. So
Yeah.
it's like we wouldn't be there.
And you're,
if
and
it
you're
happened
allowed
to
to
me.
be upset about it. Like, even some people say, like, it happens every month,
Yeah.
all year round. So is there much of a reason to just get upset about it every time it comes around? And it's like, that's just sort of ridiculous because you're suffering and
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
and people shut you down just because it's happening on a regular basis.
Yeah. I reckon if a man was bleeding out a week every month, he would be crying on his
Oh,
he
I
would
know.
be so, I don't know. I think people look past it so much, but it is painful and it's hard to go to school with that and deal with it and go to work because some people have cramps that are awful and they can't like stay all day working and on their feet. But men, like, we're just expected to, and it's not fair.
Exactly, and I think because we're in such a... Oh, it's turned off. Oh, I think I'm in a very, and I think we all are, in a very privileged position where, if I am on my period, I can go and run down and get a pad from the bathroom drawer. But I think I watched a video on it yesterday actually about, if you're homeless, then she was just like, I've just got to let the blood go down my leg because I can't afford.
It's awful.
It's like the basic human necessities are food and water, but I think it's also
It's dignity
overlooked.
is like
Exactly.
necessity.
It's like
Because every human deserves to have their dignity.
Mhm.
And what I wanted to end on was, like the pink tax.
Mhm.
You know how you like go in a shop and a women's razor might cost 25 quid and a men's razor will cost 20 quid, even though they're made by the same person,
Yeah.
same materials, and the price is just increased because it's
For women.
from a woman. And what do you think people can do? I mean, conversations like this really benefit the
Yeah.
cause, but what can people do on a small level in their day-to-day lives to help get equal rights and stop, like, women hating, misogyny?
I think just speaking out about it,
Mhm.
just saying where somebody's wrong, just saying that you don't agree with it, just like sticking up for what is right, because women's rights should not be a thing that we have to fight for. They should just be there. Like, we should just have the same rights as men. I don't understand why we don't and why we never did.
Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to add?
About traditional femininity
Mhm.
and also like modern day femininity, also hypocrisy of some politicians like using their femininity against the cause.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
like Suella Braverman. She's now like Reform's head of
Yeah.
the education, and she wants to scrap the Equalities Act, which
Oh, I saw
protects
this,
women
yeah.
so much. And it's like you wouldn't have got that position
I
if it
know.
wasn't
Exactly.
for those acts.
Yeah. You would not be standing and talking if we didn't have that act.
Yeah, and it's like, what are you going to do without it? Like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
Well, I think we've had quite a good discussion,
Mhm.
and I think what people should take away from this, and the listeners as well,
Yeah.
is that it's just small actions day to day that make the big difference.
Yes.
And just loving each other
Yeah.
Yeah.
and seeing each other as humans.
Mhm.
And can we really, really respect you guys both
Yeah.
for doing
Yeah.
this? Because I don't
I'm
think,
really glad.
many people are, they make jokes about it. And as much as, you can take a joke, it's like rights aren't something to joke about. You wouldn't make a joke about a man not having rights. So why would you make a joke about women not having rights, So
Yeah.
we really do respect you for speaking up about it.
Well, we really like to thank you for coming on the
Yeah.
podcast,
Thank
and
you
we
for
hope you
having us.
listeners
Thanks,
enjoyed
guys.
very much. And goodbye, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.